Daily stock market update on the 16th of March. Before US market open, we've got all eyes on the Middle East, of course, and oil futures. Too much on the Middle East because actually it hardly impacts AI companies. So it's very much a sentiment driven issue because it's not impacting global growth. You only think it is. It's actually a rounding error of the likely impact on global growth, not least because the Iranians have said that they're only going to be targeting Western countries. The US doesn't get their oil out of there any significant amounts in any event. China's getting it, India's getting it. So you've got some of the major economies. So who's really suffering? Well, it's relatively few countries, but again, it's more a matter of sentiment. And it's sentiment that moves stock prices in the near term, might even open up some opportunities. So let's have a look. S&P 500 futures, maybe the market's catching on, are actually up. The futures market tells us how the cash market will open when it does in a moment, in about over an hour. Okay, so things have settled, and the sort of the panic heart attack headlines are not reflecting what's actually happening in the markets. Equities have actually edged a little bit higher. Okay, of course, the Dubai stock market is now officially in a bear market. It is down about 25%. That'll be a buying opportunity for some people. I'm not looking to trade or move away and be distracted from my core focus, which is my individual stock portfolio. The point of a stock portfolio for investment is that you should be able to hold it through whatever crises may come. I'm happy with the companies that I hold and the management of those companies that they can hold through not just this, but whatever other unforeseen things might happen in the next 3 months, 6 months, 12 months. We do have, of course, Donald Trump as president of the United States. So you can expect other unforeseen, unforeseeable. We're not gambling on what might happen on the markets. China's economy has rebounded to some extent. They're getting oil now out from Iran. The Iranians will happily supply them. Shrewd move by the Iranians. They've not tried to create enemies of the rest of the world. And as long as they keep giving oil to the rest of the world and earning money for it one way or another, it means that they're helping global growth. And now the perception seems to be it's actually America which is damaging global growth. People soon forget the reasons for entering these things. Remember all those women who were savagely beaten and killed so again, on human rights issues, for freedom of speech and expressing what they wanted. The rest of the world turns a blind eye. We're going to stick to the focus point of the markets. Central bankers are in the spotlight, and interest rates. Now, this is important because an interest rate environment is what is really going to dictate stock price moves over the next 12 to 24 months. Now, here's the interesting thing for this week, which a lot of the people are missing. The world's top central bankers are convening because they've got this worry about inflation because of the Middle East. Now, if they decide to raise interest rates, we've got a problem because that's when stocks generally fall. Which stocks? Not all of them. AI tech stocks tend to fall in a rising interest rate environment, and they're the biggest companies. They're the ones who can move the indices the most. So that would be the biggest concern. I suspect they're going to keep interest rates on hold, or hopefully even cut them, because that would be the sensible thing to do when there is a constraint on global growth. And that would help the stock market in any event. So we're going to just have to keep an eye out on that nuance. Okay. Policy changes aren't expected to be in at the Fed. The European Central Bank and the Bank of England are all expected to keep interest rates the same, which will be good for stocks. Not some kind of crazy stock rally, because we're already cautious because of the war and the unforeseeability of things. But really, the story is keep calm and carry on. This shows two important things of what's happening in the markets. One, you and I cannot and should not gamble or try and guess what's inside Donald Trump's head, because that's what's determining short-term market movements. Therefore, we should only have companies which can navigate all environments, i.e. good quality management, good quality companies with a track record of doing so, which are growing as well, their revenues and their profitability, which is the whole point of what we hold. So we can sit back rather than trying to guess and be a punter or a speculator. There are two types of market participants, investors and punters and speculators. We don't want to be the punter or the speculator, not least because it's a hell of a lot harder to earn money that way. Now, that's where we are with the markets as a whole. Let's look at individual stock headlines and what's on, for instance, the Wire, CNBC, and Bloomberg in particular. And what we see in terms of news headlines is it's starting to go a little bit more back to normal. JP Morgan kicks off a $5.75 billion loan sale tied to EA buyout. In other words, the economy is chugging along with large numbers. There's good profitability, there's good revenues, there's good deal making being done, even if that's not being done by Donald Trump and Ayatollah Jr. So on that front, all looks fairly cautiously optimistic and positive, and the oil tankers are moving through the Straits of Hormuz. What Trump has asked in terms of asking NATO is basically to say, can you make sure that American tankers can get through? Well, actually, the American tankers or the Saudi and the Iranian ones are relatively limited in number in any event. As I said, their impact on GDP, what happens in the UAE, does not impact global GDP at all, and certainly doesn't impact the kind of stocks that we own. Shell sees LNG demand growing despite Iran war volatility. Of course it does. We're all going to need all of that energy in any event. Now, for those thinking, well, let's go into defense stocks, let's go into drone making stocks and so on. Remember, the war could be over tomorrow. And this again makes another point about investing. If you are going to try and chase the latest headline, as opposed to a portfolio you can be proud to look at and say, I love this. I love what I own. And I think it can handle any storms that may come. That's the mindset and area you should be in. That's the test you should have, as opposed to, hey, why don't we buy some Dubai exchange-traded, Dubai index exchange-traded funds, or why don't we go into more defense stocks? Then you'll be chasing the market, which is fine. It's a way of investing. It's just an awfully difficult way of investing, and it's a way to get things wrong and forever be churning. It's more the casino way of doing things. Chip makers, I'm happy with those as well, because guess what? Whatever happens in the short term in the Middle East, those companies are still very much in demand. Now, you might also say, well, what if oil goes to $200 a barrel? What about the burgeoning US deficit? What about this? What about that? Yeah, we're looking at the companies we have, which on the same principles, they survived the Cuban Missile Crisis: value, growth, income, cash flow. There were a different set of companies then, but they were able to survive every time the world has come to the brink of total annihilation and destruction, which is, as long as people like money, assets and profits, basically money in the form of profits and in the form of assets, then our way of investing will work. If people no longer like profits and they no longer like assets, then it won't work. Okay? So value, growth, income, cash flow are the things we want. And we want to stay away from headlines. Now, let's have a look at what's been at the bottom. Now, I wrote last week on X that there's a reason Adobe is a terrible company and it should sack its CEO. Just the user unfriendliness of the product, engineered by technicians, where the CEO doesn't even look at how wieldy it has become and how user unfriendly it is. Adobe has now fallen 7.5% as of today. It might have a dead cat bounce. It might rally just off the back of just having crashed and been destroyed. But I think it's time they get rid of their CEO. And there are companies like this where you don't have confidence in the management to turn things around, where they've, despite them having an entrenched position, almost a monopoly that they've thrown away. PayPal's another example. It's time you need to get rid of management. When you've got investments where you're happy with management, you think, yeah, these guys really can handle things, then that's a far better position to be in. I'll give you some examples. SanDisk, Ares, and Micron. I happen to own all of those as part of a quality portfolio, and they'll have their ups and downs. They might have times when they can even drop 20, 30%. But that's actually stock market volatility or stock market overreaction, not a poor management company. How do you tell the difference? Value, growth, income, cash flow. Sortino also taking a bit of a beating. Ulta Beauty. That's one of the ones which, thanks to Instagram and TikTok, did incredibly well. Too much hype, too much volatility, dropped 14%. Stay away from volatility and headlines. You want companies which actually are chugging along without making constant headline news. I guess for me, the exceptions to those which do make a lot of news that I happen to own are Meta, Microsoft, Apple, Amazon, Alphabet, Nvidia. But beyond that, the other ones tend not to be in the news every single day. And the ones that do and have the most hype tend to be the ones which are just too volatile for my interests. So you've got to be careful not to get caught up in the headlines, tempting though it is, because it usually signifies you don't have a strategy. So where are we on Europe? Well, it's all green across the board there. Where are we on pre-market? Dow futures up, S&P 500 futures up, NASDAQ futures up over 1%. All of that incredibly positive. So why is all of this positive? Well, could it be that the market suddenly decided that, hey, what's happening over there probably not going to affect us, or that the Iranians have done the US stock market a huge favor by allowing lots of oil companies through? Or has the market decided that earnings, that's what matters, let's focus on that, let's not get carried away? Whatever the reasons are, whilst we're not out of the woods and we're cautious, certainly it seems a calmer day today is all we can say. Of course, we don't know what's in the mind of the president of the US. He will throw another hand grenade into the middle of calm. If today's calm, if it's an update, by the end of the day, I'm sure he will want to do that. It looks like the key reason the markets and the Dow futures point to a 350-point rise in the Dow is because oil prices have fallen back to $95 a barrel. So at the moment, it's oil prices. It will then move back to interest rates. It will move back to profits of companies. Whatever that short-term noise is, we've got good companies that we certainly want to hold through and are doing well for our pensions over the medium to long term that I have confidence in their management in. So I'm a happy bunny. Don't forget to look at all of that. Links in the bio. Thanks very much.